Ooh, that's a huge conversation, Kayla. Sisterhood is a non-negotiable for me. Having phenomenal women in my life that I honor and appreciate and share this journey with is everything to me. It truly is everything to me. One of my good teachers, my Chief Ali, he talks about cloistering and the importance of women gathering together regularly, the way we've always done in the village, right? How this is how we survive. This is how we are able to maintain a level of mental health. It's our nature to do this. We have to do it. And we know it when we do it, we all get in a room together, it just feels so freaking good. It's almost better than meeting up with your bae.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just different, right? Because we love our booze, but there is a level of real and raw that you can be with your girls.
Yes.
That you could never have that same exchange with your man.
Welcome back to another episode of Women of TmrO. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by. Women of TmrO is a platform dedicated to the longevity and success of women all over the world. So if that's you, please take a time to watch this video, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thanks. Ahki, thank you so much for being here today.
Glad to be here.
You look so beautiful.
Thank you. Reflection goddess.
Wow, I'm so happy. So I'll just say this. I've been familiar with you since I think 2006.
Whoa.
2006. And you know why? And I don't know if you remember him, but do you remember Keys? Now goes by Timothy Bloom.
Good friend of mine.
Wow. So he's the one who put me on. I used to be in the music industry, and we were working together.
I think we met around that time, possibly. I feel like I may have seen you in the loop.
Okay, so I remember, I don't know, because I remember one time we were at the studio and he was like, you gotta meet her. And because I think you were singing at the time? Yes. Is that how you met him?
Yes, Timothy produced several songs for me.
Oh, wow.
And
he's so talented.
We recorded together, and he ended up taking me on tour.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that.
I toured with him for 4 months.
How was that?
Me, him, and Veronica Bozeman with Janelle Monáe.
Wow.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was my dream at the time.
Well, he always spoke so highly of you. He admired you and adored you. And he was the first person who put me on to you. And I can't remember back then if he told me about the wellness side of you, but that's just when I knew. And I saw you and I never forgot your face. So when I saw you,
Timothy,
when I saw you again later on, that's when I was introduced to your wellness, culinary, that side of you. If you could describe a professional title, what would you say your title is?
Oh, it would be just a nutritional counselor.
Okay.
Holistic health coach.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on and on because there's so much there. You know, I work with medicine, so people will say, oh, medicine woman, medicine worker. But somewhere in there. And
when did that start for you?
You know, the origin story of wellness for me, I would say, has been there maybe since I was a kid, but as a career, not until maybe 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did it start you being a nutritional coach or a chef? Like, because you worked with so many.
Yeah. So in the beginning, wow, just thinking about this journey is really trippy to me.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I wanted to just show people how to eat plant-based foods because it wasn't popular.
Yeah.
And social media was this new budding thing. And I had a really good friend at the time who had super high quality cameras, experience in branding and marketing, and from LA, and had moved to Atlanta. And together we were in the kitchen. You know, every day I would bring 3-4 wardrobes, you know, the whole 9, makeup, hair, and we would film all of the content of me making this beautiful food and going to the markets and going to the farmers. And I would just tell him, he's like, look, just do what you do. I want to follow how you eat this way, because for so many people, this is different and it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I didn't think of much of it. But I started going out and just saying, well, this is where I get my this is where I go to the farm. I meet up with the farmers. I was friends with all the farmers in my neighborhood. Atlanta really is a thriving place for farmers markets, all the different outdoor markets. I would go to the Carter Center. I mean, we went everywhere. And I would just film the experience. And anyone we would run into in the city who had opened up new plant-based restaurants or co-ops or anything, we would go out and interview those people and talk to those people. And I would bring my things back home, cook those things, and we would shoot phenomenal photos, some video, but at the time it was all about photos. So that's kind of how it started. And it just went crazy. I was just shooting what I eat. And I didn't think of it as a career. I never considered monetizing it. I just wanted to show people how I eat and how I do it. And it just took off.
It just took off. And what was the first, I guess, way that you monetized it? Was it from being a personal chef?
Not exactly. I think the first thing that happened was, I think I was maybe at right under 100,000 on Facebook in like 2011.
So the content was growing your social media.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. And we were trying to just keep it like real time, real content. And I was real kind of revolutionary already on Facebook and MySpace, just having conversation. And people who know me, they know I'm very conversational about a plethora of topics. And I'm pretty, what would you call? My political views are pretty firm.
Okay.
And I like to speak my mind. So things were really like hot over in my section of social media even before I started showcasing the food.
Got it.
And so we tried to find a way to kind of marry those worlds. And I'm a writer really by trade. So in creating this platform about Black health, class, you know, it really was about sophisticated food and lifestyle. And nobody was really doing that at that time. It's like vegetarianism means kind of hairy armpit, patchouli vibes, you know what I mean? It was more hipster or whatever, more hippie vibes. And I was like, well, that's not me. So I don't want to do that. I like beautiful things, nice things. And to me, eating this way actually is upper echelon. Eating this way means I really, really love and honor myself, that I want the best. And this is the best right here, out of this ground, out of this garden with the highest quality olive oils and beautiful pottery. This is high quality living to me. Yeah. So I monetized through advertisements because of the platform growing so much. You know, people were like, can we advertise with you? You know, and can
the
you
products, the foods,
and can you advertise with us? You know, so the brand started to reach out first, and then it was the cookbooks.
The cookbooks.
It was the cookbooks, and then there's products. You know, so it just kind of kept going from there.
I do have one of your cookbooks. I think it's the Electric Food Kitchen or something.
It's the electric. Yes.
Yeah, and so one of my favorites, actually, like. It's probably the only one that I've been good at making is the kelp pasta. I love that one.
Kelp noodles.
The kelp noodles.
Yeah, people be sleeping on them kelp noodles.
Right, with the pine nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a great sauce. I even use that sauce on other things.
Oh yeah, that sauce is fire on everything.
Yeah. So did you start, was it the cookbooks? Wow, you I know that you speak a lot about womb health and fibroids. Yeah. Was that the first cookbook?
No, the first book was Electric. And it's crazy because I never thought I would finish that book. I felt like it was taking forever.
How long did it take?
Oh my God, over a year to write that book for me. I have my methodology down now, so it would never happen again that way. Yeah. But it took me forever because I just wanted to tell my story. Then I wanted to talk about health. I wanted to get into all the organ systems. I just wanted to do too much, I think, in the beginning. Yeah. But I'm proud of ultimately how it came out. And more than anything, I'm proud because the book is so imperfect in so many ways, but I put it out. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, like, it may not be perfect the first time. You can always redo it. You can do a reprint. You can relaunch. You can do all these things. Yeah. But get it out.
Yeah.
Just get it out, and let people grow with you sometimes.
Yeah.
So I was just happy to get it done because it did take forever. So Electric was the first book. And when I look at it today, I'm still proud of it because there's so much good information in the book. It's not just a cookbook, it's lifestyle. It's teaching you about how to source these foods, what organic actually means, what good water is and what isn't, basic fundamental things about the lifestyle.
And still to this day, it has aged very well. Like
it has aged well.
People that are just now getting into the lifestyle are referencing your material from back then. So
absolutely.
You should be so proud of it. And just like to be a pioneer in the space. And two, that's one thing about entrepreneurship. Did you know you were an entrepreneur at that time?
God, no. No. I literally, and people would not believe this about me, but I never had a desire to be a CEO of anything. I never had a desire to be a boss girl or run a business.
Yeah.
And I still don't. I still don't have a desire to do that. Yeah. Honestly, it's just not my thing. I'm really like, I want to bake muffins and decorate the house and paint my toenails for my man when he get home. That's all I want to do. Like, I don't want to do it. Like, but it just happened. Honestly, I remember when things kind of went crazy, I woke up one day and all my notifications were going off, and my friends are like, "Wake up! What are you doing? You went viral!" And I was like, "What's going on?" And I saw this media takeout at the time. It was media takeout, and they were like, "Oh, we found her, the most beautiful woman in the world, and she's a vegan chef." And I was like, and they have like a whole spread. Like they had found all these photos from online of me modeling and just all types of stuff. And I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And then from there, it just then celebrity clients started to come. So it really changed things.
Wow. That was a time.
It was wild. It was wild.
And you just kept going. You were like, okay, you're going to make this do what it do. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is what we're doing. Yeah.
And people in my life, they know I don't just make decisions for myself. I typically go to a sage. I have sage wisdom from phenomenal elders in my life. I go to divination for making decisions in my life. This was one of these things that it happened so quick. I didn't even stop to really think is this what I want to do as a career? It was just happening, and it was a flow. And I really didn't have to question it. It was just a flow.
It was just a flow, and you just flowed with it.
Yeah, I went with it. It was good.
And so how long has it been since you've been in this space?
I'd say about a decade now.
I started, I guess, my journey in 2008. And I was really consistent for, I would say, about 5, 6 years. And then I kind of guess lost my why. I lost my discipline. I started, I was traveling, I was moving, and I kind of just didn't go all the way back to where I started, but definitely went back and saw a major decline in my health for someone that hadn't had a cold in 5 years. So then I had bronchitis. And I was like, whoa. And so I had to really say, oh, well, this really makes a difference. And it's hard to tell people until they experience. I didn't know how clear my thoughts could be, or my mood, how stable my mood could be, until I actually got rid of all this stuff and went to a clean diet.
Where I am in Belize, we have access to a lot of tamarind juice, coconut water, watermelon juice, cantaloupe juice, soursop juice. So typically I'll try to keep it pretty tight and stay away from all the extra sugars, but I love soursop juice. I can never deny it. So I'll drink that, watermelon and coconut, and I'll do that for 3 days. I'll have lime water.
Okay.
Every once in a while I may have an herbal tea in the evening or in the morning, but that's it.
And that's a reset. Yeah, I think people really just need to know. Sometimes it's just stop eating.
Yeah.
And give your body a chance to do something other than digest.
Right? Yeah, it's really the only way that it can heal itself. The body really doesn't need you to do anything. It needs you to chill. It needs you to leave it alone so it can fix. That's its natural intelligence, is to heal itself. So we just have to get out of the way.
I hear people do, and that's so great that you say that. I hear people say, when they're trying to defend their diet, they're like, well, the body's going to heal itself anyway. And I want to be like, yeah, if your body's in shape to do what it's supposed to do, they assume that the body is just going to continue to
just work.
And we're not doing anything
it's ridiculous.
to make it stay in shape to work.
It needs certain things for it to continue functioning in that way.
Yeah.
It's not just going to work. You have to also stop giving it crap so that it can work. People talk about their physical fitness. They don't think about organ fitness. Organ health. Like what is happening for your liver? What's happening for your kidneys? What's happening in your lungs? What's happening? So honestly, fasting to me is the best and the fastest way to allow the organs to heal. But once you remove all the junk, then you got to replenish. You got to start adding on. You got to start adding more minerals. You got to get your sea moss. You got to get all your vitamins and all your herbs. Like you got to build the organs too. Because most of us, by the time we're 25, 35 years old, we've done so much damage.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a quick fix. Like you really have to be intentional.
You have to be super intentional.
Yeah.
And when people throw around the phrase clean eating, I'm eating clean, I'm eating clean. In your words, what really is clean eating?
I don't know what people think clean eating is now. I'm very curious.
They think it's grilled salmon over a bed of.
I think
no
you're
shade.
right. Yeah, no shade. But no, I think you're right. I think people think clean eating is like a piece of grilled chicken, a little rice, a little broccoli, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no.
Yeah.
Clean eating for me would be starting your morning off clean. Firstly, herbal tea, lemon water, off the rip. Maybe a little chlorophyll in my water or coconut water. Clean. I'll drink like watermelon juice throughout the day. For lunch, I have my biggest meal of the day. I'm going right for a grain like quinoa, wild rice.
So you do your biggest meal at lunch?
Biggest meal at lunchtime, always. And a whole lot of like grilled veggies. If you want to do some ground food, what we call ground food in the Caribbean, which is your yams.
Okay, those the root vegetables.
Yeah, your root veggies. And mix it up with your greens, your leafy greens and things. Some smacking sauce. Have your little earth bowl or whatever. To me, that is clean eating. It's gonna have all the roughage, all the fiber, a combination of many different colors and varieties. I tell people, eat your colors. If you're not eating a plate full of color, you're not getting any life. No livity there. So
yeah, okay, got it. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And then a lot of fruit. We really don't eat fruit the way we should.
I know.
We should be eating a lot more fruit than we are. So eating the fruit, and I don't mean just blending it up in a smoothie, which is good.
Yeah.
But really eating fruit is something that we really got to get back to. And it takes some tweaking because our taste buds have become very acclimated to the junk. And so you don't even crave it the way that you normally would. To walk past a tree and smell mango and not be like, yo, this is life right here.
Yeah.
This is divinity right here. We've really gotten way too far. And I see people in the Caribbean walk right past a mango tree like it's nothing.
Really?
And I'm like, that is gold.
Even in the Caribbean, it's you would have.
Yes, they're like, oh well, it falls on the ground.
Yeah.
They let it rot. It was okay,
Yeah. So and I bring up that whole clean eating because it's become a trend. It's become something so
interesting to watch this.
So for someone that professionally started this in 2011, and to see what's going on now in the the conscious world, because I always put them together.
Yeah.
I assume, and I probably shouldn't assume,
that makes sense.
But I always put it together because it's like, if you are aware, then you know what you should be eating. If you're that aware, then you know, right?
Yes.
And that's not always the case, because I started with food and not necessarily spirituality. Now that we're here where everything is a trend, everyone is turning everything into an aesthetic, I would say it feels like, and you just kind of just don't know what people truly are.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, the new age spirituality consciousness?
Oh man.
And the agendas that are associated with it, now, like it used to be vegan meats where it's like it literally was made with vegetables. You get your little frozen patties. Now it's Beyond Meat.
Yes.
And now they got something else.
Yes.
Oh, it's so much.
Yeah, we're seeing like the heavy commercialization of this trend, of this lifestyle. And, you know, that's what capitalism gonna do. You know, Babylon gonna do what Babylon do. They gonna find a way to infiltrate everything that we create for our wellness, for our evolution. They're gonna find a way to infiltrate and try to poison it. And that's what we're seeing now. Even the vegetables are being poisoned. What we're up against, you know, the fight is real, what we're up against. I don't think people really want to take a real look at how insidious this agricultural industry really is. The way that they are making money off of death, off of illness is just immoral in every way. My mother worked for doctors for years, maybe 30 years, just retired last year. And she would tell me, you know, I can see how these doctors would take their vacations, you know, so they're counting on, you know, this many hysterectomies, they're counting on this many surgeries, you know, they're counting on this. They're making deals with the pharmaceutical companies, and they're making loads of money off of illness, and they don't care about you getting well. It's not their priority. So it's up to you, you know, to take back responsibility for yourself. That's why I've always tell people, you, your children, your family, that's on you. Nobody's responsible to take care of you and make sure that you stay well, because if you don't do it, somebody's waiting to capitalize on your death. So it's watching this this thing become not only trendy, but, you know, also kind of become now it's almost kind of laughable. Yeah. And very, like you said, it goes hand in hand with kind of like the conscious community. Yeah. So the same way that people are making fun of like the Hotep. Yeah. Which is horrible for someone like me to witness. I'm over 40 years old, and I watched this thing happen. I watched how proud people were to finally say, Hetepu, Hotep, brother and sister, you know, I greet you with peace. Immediately, this is our ancient language. We need to get back to that. And people feeling good about this in 1996, feeling great about this in 2002, you know, and really feeling that pride of their cultural heritage and consciousness. I was inside of that entire movement. You know, the Baduism album dropped, you know, everybody was on that frequency. The Roots was the hugest rap group, and you know, there's so much. It was beautiful, and it almost feels the same way we watch the Black Panther Party get infiltrated and all these other movements get infiltrated. It literally feels like that, because it's like overnight people were making fun of the Hotep. Now there's, you know, this whole, it's basically like your culture is phony and fake. Be a nigga. Just be a nigga. You know, just go ahead and really be who you really are. Be a nigga. Yeah. And stop all that fake stuff. You ain't going back to Africa. You're not about to reclaim your heritage, your language, your spirituality, your culture. You know, go ahead with that.
Wow.
That's what it is.
That is exactly what is happening. And dang, it's so unfortunate.
It's wild.
And like you were saying, the capitalism of it all, I truly believe that capitalism is even before, you know, racism.
Absolutely.
And when people say, you know, you talk about the hospitals, and it's so convoluted, it's so twisted, because my mother is a doctor, my sister is a healthcare administrator, and so I know that they went into it for the right reasons, right? And so it's hard for them to understand that I say, Ma, I know you care, but the industry that you work for does not. Yeah. They are not built off your heart and what you care about, and unfortunately you work for them. And she came up in a time where she just wanted to get out of Compton. So this was the way to do it. This is what was glorified, glamorized.
Makes sense.
And
be a nurse.
She dedicated her whole life to it, and it's hard for her now. She's doing well, but it was hard for her to, I guess, it became her identity. Yes. This medicine, these medical books, getting her certification every year, and that kind of thing. And it's so when you address the subject of why would they do this? Why would they want to hurt us? Capitalism.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they're going to, Black women have been the backbone of the health industry here. the Black nurse, that's what it is. I mean, when I grew up, that's what everyone was encouraged to do. In fact, was become a nurse. Why don't you just become a nurse? Right.
It was stable.
Yes. And this is, a good job. And so really it's like, no matter how awful the medical industry is, they're going to find a black face to give you that medication, to give you those shots to do. And these are, by nature, we want to help people.
We do.
Be well and feel better.
Yeah.
And they know that. So to get a Black woman to do it,
wow.
It makes sense. And it's really unfortunate because what needs to happen is we need to have our own systems, our own natural medicinal practices in place so that Black women can have options, that if they want a stable income, that, come over here, let's create our own Aboriginal Medical Association, so that women can learn how to really heal and do that as a career instead. We just need those options.
We need the options. How do you think we can rewire the brains of our people? Because I was even speaking to my mom when I started getting into herbs and stuff as my way of like preventative care and stuff like that. She'd be like, well, you got to be careful because those herbs, they can be dangerous.
Oh yeah, watch out for those herbs.
Right. And I know that she learned that
I don't know
from
what's in
medical
that
school. And you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, do you guys not remember, 50 years ago when it was just like, drink some
turpentine, mix with some moonshine and a little bit of
before there was hospitals, because people act like hospitals were here for forever. It's been less than 100 years and hospitals were around. So what were we doing? Can we just please get back to
healing ourselves and preventing BS? Yeah.
What is there anything that you typically tell people, I guess, to get them, to shake them out of that that mindset of I need pharmaceuticals, I need I need the experts, I need the
that's a very difficult task, and I'll be honest, I no longer really deal with people that are on that frequency because it just took so much out of me for years trying to explain to people why you should consider living naturally, which, to say it out loud sounds ridiculous. You want to live unnaturally, right? You try these natural things. But typically, my angle with people has been, how's that worked out for you? Let's just start there. How's it working out for you? Okay, you're taking blood pressure medication. Okay. You are, taking something, water pill, right?
What does that even mean?
Listen, I say, well, how's it working out for you? And the second thing that I ask people is, I tell people, you're not in this position because of lack of prozomethylazine or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not why you're in this situation. You're in this situation because your organs are breaking down because they don't have what they need and they have too much toxicity, too much of what they don't need. That's why you're in this situation. You need to get to the root cause. And I tell people, you can continue taking your pharmaceuticals, but you are not dealing with the root issue. And this will not end well. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So you can go this route and let nature take its course. Your body's going to heal itself. We need to remove the toxicity, clean you out, and give you what you need. So typically people, they're like, I know that right now this is a Band-Aid for whatever I'm experiencing. And that ultimately, even if, for example, women in fibroids, they do all these things, they take medication, they get the surgeries. Oftentimes the fibroid comes back.
They do.
So they know that unless I deal with the root cause, I'm not going to heal this issue. And the root cause is lifestyle. People are like, well, it's my genes. This runs in my family. And it's like,
that's a big one.
Nah, it's on your plate, because you are eating what Big Mama ate and she eating what her mama ate.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a family health history that we're seeing in the pattern, but we're not looking at a dietary pattern. And that's why we're in this situation. It's lifestyle.
Yeah. And the people that want to refer to the science, there is something called epigenetics. And I believe that kind of explains the aspect of it being in your genes. Yes, there's memory in your blood, there's memory in your cells. So your cells, if you continue to have the same behavior, it's just going to latch on and continue to create the same outcomes.
Yes, you can change your genes.
Exactly. So it is, so just getting people to just take a moment to look deeper and just not recite what they've heard.
Absolutely.
Take it in their own hands.
It's a task. It's a task because the programming is so heavy, on one hand. And then we're talking about your body, your life. So now there's the fear, the fear that comes when you get that big C word in the fear, because it's real. I lost several clients and sister friends to cancer just in the last few years, watched them completely just disappear.
And did it break your heart?
Yeah. Always.
Because is it because they would not do differently, you believe?
Different circumstances.
Okay.
For different people. What I will say is a parallel is the combination of diet and lifestyle for sure, but the mental stress, emotional congestion, I would say was the kicker, from somebody who is healing and then they just nosedive and they're out of here. It's emotional.
Ooh,
it's emotional. True. It's mental. It's energetic. The stress will take you out of here quicker than anything. I mean, we've all seen the big old girl that's happy and eating whatever she want to eat. And they're like, oh my God, she lived and she was 102. We've seen that, She
was happy.
Listen, And so I don't fight that argument with people because I know the power of the mind and of energy. And if you carry a really high frequency of joy and happiness, is it possible to transcend your physical body? Sure.
Wow.
Sure. But, that's not something I want to play with.
Yeah.
I'll take a balanced approach and eat well, also maintain balance in my mental health and stress.
That is a huge thing. The stress, that is so true, because there have been people that I've known that have passed, had a very healthy, nutritious, I should say. I like to say nutritious diet. And if they have pain in their heart, if they are lonely, if they have brokenness in their spirit, you cannot eat your way out of that.
No, you can't. And it happens so fast that a lot of times you can't reverse it. Not the natural way, know, and that's kind of what I end up with a lot of times. People will eat whatever they want, live however they want, never go to the gym. But they will call me when it's, the stage 3 and 4. And I'm like, where were you last year? Where were you the year before?
Yeah.
Why didn't you call me then? And now you want me to somehow, suggest a herbs and diet program that's going to, turn around your 25-year kidney issue. I'll try. I'll do my best.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that, and we're going to talk about this because you have spent time with the elders in this space. But one thing I learned from Dr. Africa is the actual meaning of dire stress. And apparently it shuts down, the stress shuts down your organ systems or your processing systems. So the dire, I think it's digestion. I know one is respiratory, one is excretion. I can't remember the I.
Yes, and you can't breathe.
Yeah.
And so we know the breath circulation is energy circulation, is blood circulation. That's how you heal.
Yeah. So it's a real thing for you. my mom is a psychiatrist and she's retired now, and I'm working. She loves to help, but I'm saying, Mommy, it's your time to think about yourself, to care about yourself. You hear so many, she's a child psychiatrist at that. So she has spent 30 plus years hearing terrible stories and doing what she can to nurture and help these children and their families. And for you, I'm assuming, you're heartbroken as you see people, community that you love. And I think you even mentioned this before, just like when you see people when we see our elders and the people in the healing community seem like they pass too soon, or we don't think they should even pass. We're like,
yes.
We want you here.
How did this happen?
How did this happen? What would you say to that? Your own personal experience, and then just seeing the people in when Dr. Africa passed, I was just a little shook. I was like, okay, maybe he was tired.
Yeah. No, that's. I mean, this is a really important conversation for healers, because this work, just from my personal experience, I had to stop.
Okay.
I had to stop, and I know people saw me shift, and I shifted in phases.
Okay.
I went from taking about maybe 12 calls a day on the phone, talking to families about their health concerns. I remember, I think one of the last, like the straw for me, was a young woman. She was barely 30. She had a baby who had a tumor growing out of her head. Beautiful little girl. And she would send me pictures all the time to say, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. Do you see any difference? Am I tripping? Maybe it's just in my mind and I just want her to be better. And she would send me all these photos of the baby from all the angles of the baby with this tumor growing way out of her head. And it was just so crushing for me, because I had just had a baby. And my son was also dealing with some health issues, just via the way he was born.
Got it.
And it was just, as a new mommy, caring for her baby and the deep empathy that comes from that space, and witnessing this baby going through what this baby was going through, was just heartbreaking for me. And I was like, I'm taking a break. Yeah, because I could feel myself absorbing all of that energy. And I had practices that I would do to maintain my energy. I would try to give myself simple vacations, even if they were staycations. My husband at the time was really, present in assisting me. I was good at asking for help. All the things that we read that we should do. Yeah. But essentially, my heart was breaking. My heart was breaking. There was nothing that I could do. My heart was breaking. So I just had to stop. And the first thing that I did was I said, well, most of these people I'm working with, outside of their health crisis, what they have in common is they are emotionally congested and they are stressed as hell. They have a lot of trauma that they're repeating, and this is a part of their illness. And what I'm hearing in their language is almost become like this illness currency. It's like they're using their sickness as a part of their identity at this point. They've identified so deeply with this illness that almost no matter what I'm saying, they are adamant to stay sick. It's almost like they need to be unwell. And I was like, well, this is deeper than what I thought. And so that's when I took the detour and went into medicine work, because I said, something's got to give. And it's not just going to be, apples and oranges.
Yeah. So deeper. The difference between, I guess, what is the difference between the healing and the medicine? It's just like you preparing the medicine and just delivering, or what would you say? What was that difference, that shift?
So once I stopped doing like full-time consulting.
Okay.
Just doing nutritional counseling, writing programs for individual clients.
Got it.
I stopped taking celeb clients, anybody for any chefing services, all that, I just stopped. The first thing was I actually had a couple, good friend of mine, Seven and Journey. that they were sending me emails. They were inviting me to come and experience ayahuasca medicine. And I was getting this email and I was ignoring this. I was, going through my own stuff, right? I'm heartbroken. I'm dealing with my own stuff. And I'm messaging them like, I'm not doing this. First of all, I'm scared to death. Heard about this crazy jungle medicine. Yeah. I don't know parts of it. I'm dealing with some stuff right now. And they're like, no, this is what you need. This is what you need. And I'm like, oh, hell no, right? And so the weeks are going by, they're messaging me and I get a phone call and their medicine shaman is on the phone. And they put him on the phone and he's just like, greetings, nice to meet you. And I'm like, okay, hi, how are you? Oh, I'm over here. I'm right up the street from you, I hear. I'm with your friends, and we're all going to do medicine tomorrow, ceremonies this weekend. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. And he was like, no, they already covered it for you. Everything's already covered. I'm like, what is going on?
They set you up.
Yeah, they set me up. And he was like, just come by and visit. And I said, listen, you sound like a nice man. But I'm going to tell you right now, I am a raging bitch right now. I'm stressed out. My heart's broken. I'm pivoting. My career is I am not in a good place. I really don't want to meet anybody. You probably don't want to meet me right now. And he was like, I love your honesty. You got to get over here. I got to meet you. And I was like,
that made him like
be as crazy as me. So I went and let's just say, my whole life changed.
Wow.
But I ended up in ceremony all weekend long. I think I walked in with a business suit on. I had no idea what was going on. And I had my first cup of ayahuasca medicine in the ceremony. I stayed for a full weekend. I think I drank 2 cups. And the first night I was like, this shit didn't work on me. I don't feel nothing. This is a scam.
You didn't believe it, did you?
No, not at all. I didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
I was totally sober and I guess I was looking for something to happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this didn't work on me. And I heard myself all night long telling people how this didn't work on me.
You was ready to go back and be like, it's not it, y'all. It's not it.
Yes. And so, but the crazy thing is what kept me there was because the music was so jamming. It was the most beautiful music I've ever heard. And people who really know me, they know I'm a musician.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm a musician probably first, honestly. And so I was like, this is the most beautiful music I've ever heard. I have to know it. I have to learn it. I need it. Like music to me is like food. I just consume it.
Yeah.
I'm always learning songs. This is my life. And so I talked to the shaman. I told my story. This shit didn't work on me. And he was like, stay another night. And he said, this medicine is like peeling layers of an onion. You got to do it a little more until you get down to the funky stuff,
Ooh.
And so I was like, all right, well, because the music is so good.
You'll stay.
I'm going to hang out. And I was just in such a heavy funk. And it just felt good to just be away and be somewhere where nobody knew me. And it was just really good. And I drank again. And this is when I absolutely had my breakthrough. And I understood that this was some next level work, not only in my present life, mind, consciousness, but generations behind me. I could feel the healing taking place for my great-greats.
Wow.
All of that was happening all simultaneously. It was beyond anything I had experienced. And it gave me an opportunity that everything that I had learned up until that point about what I thought spirituality was, we're going to find out tonight. That's how it was for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you did definitely have a breakthrough. What would you, and so that is what you started, ashwagandha?
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. Ayahuasca.
I like ashwagandha too.
I always mix those up. Ayahuasca. And there's other plant medicine. So is that what you currently, that's what you shifted to?
Yeah.
The plant, offering that.
Yeah, well, and not just ayahuasca too, because there's several medicines that kind of accompany that work.
Okay.
But I was fascinated with plants always. And fascinated, naturally, I'm teaching health and healthy living through plant foods.
Yeah.
But to learn that there's a whole nother plant world that works not just on my digestion and my organs, but also on my mind, on my soul, my spirit, that just blew me away. I was like, well, there's a whole nother world out here, and the plants have the answer. You know, they had the answer for me before.
Yeah.
And now I'm learning that there's deeper levels of healing with these plants. And my first thought was, how do I get Black people to drink?
Okay.
That's all I could think of from that moment. And it took me on a 14-year journey.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. Because I even think I saw a post of one of your retreats, and I saw some, I thought it was an ignorant comment, you know, something about witchcraft and stuff like that. And it's just like, when and it's the Black people that do you believe it's because they're so identified with religion that they can't, that there's like, oh, God's gonna make a way, and they think that they don't have to use God's creations. They, you know, it's just like they don't put the two and two together. Like, it's not just about going to church and reading a scripture. We have to apply everything, and maybe, you know, that one book just doesn't embody enough information. But how do you explain to people when they're like, they're scared? They think it's, you know, outside of their religion.
Yeah, I've gotten that so much. Certainly had to have that conversation a million times. The first thing that I tell people is that Creator, Great Spirit, works through everything. Great Spirit can speak through any medium. I don't care if you're throwing shells, laying out the cards, you know, whatever your medium is. But when you pray sincerely, Creator, help me, guide me. Creator will assist you. And in the intelligence of Great Spirit, that intelligence it not only lives in us, it lives in all living things. And that intelligence carried in some of these plants, it's really beyond, I think, the common person's ability to understand unless they experience it. And I tell people, you know, if you're at a place in your life where you feel called towards this medicine, that means it's for you in this life. And there's nothing you can do about that. It'll keep showing up for you. It'll just keep showing up. It literally snatched me. It called my phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, no. You know, and not only that, it showed up twice, maybe 3 times before I got the call. This medicine will come for you. You know, when it's your time, hear that. Listen, if it's your time, you'll know, because it will just keep showing up. But as far as the conversation where, you know, I don't need these medicines, I just talk to God, I meditate, I read the Bible, those conversations, again, how's that working for you, right? Yeah. That's my response, is that working out for you? And my second thing is, this medicine, to me, it's best used for people who have gotten to their wits' end. They have gone through so many traumas where they've almost, they become fragmented mentally. Okay. Right? They're broken in a way that they're cycling and they're spinning out, and they can't see a way to center themselves. So there are things that no conversation can fix, because this is healing beyond the intellect. You know, there's no words that I can tell you that's going to make it okay that you were gang raped, or that you were touched by your own family member, or that you were, you know, beaten to damn near death. So many different things that we go through in life. There's not enough talk therapy sessions that are going to fix that. You have to reprogram and lace and re-script your mind down to a soul level. And it's almost better with medicine for these people, because you can take on somebody's idea or concept about your experience. It could feel really good to you, but at the end of the day, you are going to minister to yourself when you do that medicine. It won't be, oh, because so-and-so told me this or that. You drank that medicine, and then you went in and you became the medicine for yourself. Inside of ceremony, you are in a conversation with yourself and Creator the whole night. So there's nothing that I can tell you about your darkest secret. Most people go to therapy and just lie.
Yeah. And then finding a good therapist.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the best therapists are going to get lied to for a long time, for a lot more money, than a ceremony before they get down to the funk, right?
Yeah.
Whereas
so
with this
true.
medicine, it snatches you and forces you to surrender. I've been in there talking to God like, what? For real? Oh my gosh. What? Me? I've literally had full-on 8-hour conversations with God just like that. And It's raw and it's real because it's me. It's all me.
Yeah. And you said a good thing right there, saying that you can just go to therapy and lie. Because, you really can.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, they're kind of forced or pushed to therapy. They don't even know if they believe in it or not.
Yes.
So when they get there, they're like, who is this?
Exactly.
I'm not telling you everything. I'm not about to. So what you're saying is with the plant medicine, it's you and creator.
Yes.
And it's nowhere to hide.
Nowhere to hide. Nowhere to run. Ooh, try to. It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts if you try to lie or run in ceremony. It literally hurts.
How do you prepare? Is there a way to prepare? Or because I have read that there is a protocol, or there is a specific way that you should go into ceremony. You can't just do it.
That's true. To prepare for medicine ceremony of any kind, and I don't care if you're doing mushrooms or whatever you're playing with, and these things are not casual. I want to make that very clear in this conversation, that these medicines really aren't made to be casual.
Okay.
This is not something you need to go online and try to look for. Oh, we heard Chef Ahki talking about ayahuasca. Get online and Google it.
Yeah, and go
Please
find it.
don't do that. Please don't do that. This is not that. This is something that needs to be ceremonially done, and it needs to be done in traditional fashion with someone who is trained with traditional tribesmen and women. I don't care if it's Santo Daime Church in Brazil, if you're going through the peyote families up in Mexico, or you're going through the Colombians, whoever you're going to, the Shipibo in Peru, you need to ask the shaman who he's trained with and really get some credentials on that, because it's gotten really wild out here. I can't even begin the conversation of how I feel about watching medicine turn also into this capitalistic, trendy thing.
Yeah.
Right. So we've seen the food go into a trend. We've seen now medicine going into a trend.
Yeah.
Dangerous times.
Yeah.
But the preparation is typically a fast.
Okay.
Staying away from fried foods, pork, heavy meat, heavy carbs, sugars, all the sweets, you got to cut that out. The alcohol and the smoking, you don't want to do any of that stuff in preparation. You really want to just cleanse out, because the cleaner you are, the more deeper you can go.
Got it.
The more firm the signal and the channel is for downloading the information. The spirits don't like to dance with all the other spirits like that. The ayahuasca, the chacruna spirit is really specific. It's not something that you want to mix with other spirits.
Got it.
So it's best to abstain from sex before and after, at least 3 days before and after. And there's a few other preparations. Intention is also huge in preparing, making sure that you're really firm on your intention. And I wouldn't overdo it with that, because half the time it's not about the intention, it's who's intending. Who are you that is intending? Are you somebody that's actually within your right mind, your right consciousness, within your highest self? Or are you making intentions based on your ego lower self? Most of the time, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's good to have an intention.
Yeah.
But don't OD on intention, because when you get into that medicine, it's going to do the work, and it's going to force you to surrender, and there'll be nothing that you can do about it either way. So.
Got it. Yeah. So for people out there, I know there is a lot of people that, like you said, it's becoming so trendy, and you have to protect yourself. But for anyone out there, fast. Start there.
Yeah.
Clean yourself out.
Absolutely. No sex.
Okay.
Be very careful, because it's very easy to make babies after you do medicine also.
Okay.
Just go get pregnant.
So this is something that you offer with your retreats and your things
Yes.
Okay.
This is something I have offered.
Okay.
In several retreats. Now, I was assistant to a shaman for 14 years, where we would travel all through the Midwest, South, and we ended up, overseas as well. But we brought ayahuasca medicine to thousands of people here in the Midwest and in the Southeast. Black folks. We were the first to introduce this medicine to Black people in America.
Oh, wow.
Thousands of people. And I remember him telling me, that this is going to change things. And we watched it together. We watched it shift, where now I can mention ayahuasca to almost anybody.
And they know.
And they're like, oh yeah, I did that. My auntie did it. I'm thinking about doing it myself. Very normal.
Wow.
Yeah. Watched it happen.
So this medicine is ancient medicine. It's been around for hundreds, thousands of years. And like you were saying, you studied under a shaman.
Yes.
Are shamans typically elders?
Typically.
Typically they are.
But in rare cases, no.
Okay.
I have sat with 2 ayahuasqueros who were quite young, shockingly young.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, they were in full regalia and had been given the blessings of their entire village.
Oh, wow.
Whatever spirit walked with that person, they were given a responsibility with this medicine very early. And they went through the initiations to have the marriage with this plant. And they were serious. I mean, phenomenal, integral, powerful spiritual leaders. Wow. I mean, powerful. So typically, yes, elders, but not always.
But not always. And speaking of elders, you spent time, I don't know how much time, I'm going to talk about it, with Dr. Sebi.
Yes.
Do you pronounce it Sebi or Sebi?
Sebi.
Sebi. So 2023, March 2023, I actually made it to Usha Village.
Okay.
I went.
Nice.
I was in the sulfur pool, which I was obsessed with. And I was there for 7 days. I went with my family. My little nephew that you saw, he was there. Both my nephews, my sister. We made it happen. My mother really needed it, so it was a beautiful thing for us to make it. And I remember seeing your video. You did. You posted online. I don't know how many years ago that was, but you were there, looking like a goddess
at Usha.
At Usha, and I saw clips of you at Dr. Sebi's bedside, feeding him. I think it was a stew or something like that. What was it like? I mean, because I would say that, he is one of, I guess, the most prominent of our elders. And what was it like? How much of a gift was that for you? And
oh, man. It was a dream come true for me. Like I said, I was a true Sebiist. At the time, the family I was working with out of Los Angeles, on my blog and on creating everything, we would just watch Sebi videos like constantly. And years before I even got to Atlanta, I attempted to become a mentee of Sebi's. I had signed up on some random list that somebody told me about, and I went through that. I was calling the people, and I wasn't getting no answer. And I was just like, okay, I want to do this. I want to move into this work, and I wasn't getting any response. And I'm like, this is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in genetic-based diet. I'm not just interested in, the macrobiotic or the, whatever new trendy, thing that white folks came up with for our vegetarian diet. Yeah. I'm not interested in that. The brother said the indigenous person needs to eat indigenous foods. And that resonated with me as an indigenous woman out of Oklahoma, Choctaw family.
The indigenous food, meaning the food.
Original food, not this, whatever the scientist and went in, the German scientist and turned it, a piece of corn or the teosinte into, now what we have is this corn or Cavendish bananas and all these things that we see now. That food today is not what it was 100 years ago, 200 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was clear that I did not want to go the traditional naturopathic route, right?
Got it.
I wanted to understand genetic-based nutrition. I wanted to understand why is it that the African can eat this kind of food, have this type of health, longevity, lean bodies, strength, endurance, yet we're over here eating what seems to be the same thing, rice, corn, chicken, but we are very sick. What's going on here? And so I wasn't getting any response. And maybe I think in 2012, I saw that he was coming to Atlanta on Facebook. And whoever posted the advertisement, I just went in the DM and I was like, I don't know who I could be speaking to, who you are, but this is who I am. And this is my platform. And I'm the only alkaline vegan chef in the world. So who's feeding him when he gets here? Because I want to feed him. And that was my pitch. Oh, if that's what a pitch is, I was like, there are no alkaline vegan chefs. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so the person responded like, we'll get back with you, whatever. And literally the next morning, the person had sent me like 5 messages like, oh, I'm so sorry, Chef Ahki, my bad. Everyone in the office is so excited. They all know who you are.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know, but they all know and they're really excited and we would love to have you. Oh my gosh, yes, right? It was just yes. And so I get over here where you see the film of me at his bedside.
Yeah.
I was in the kitchen all morning. I was in the kitchen just cooking.
Oh, wow.
And I had just left an ayahuasca ceremony that morning.
Wow.
Took a shower, got dressed, and went to see Sebi to cook for him. So, you end up seeing me singing on that clip because I was still in the zone,
Yeah.
So I'm cooking for him and I still got all this phenomenal 8 hours of music in my mind. I had not even slept, okay?
Wow.
And so I'm still vibrating from this medicine. And so I ended up singing the song to him because I couldn't get it out of my head. I didn't even know the song, but I was just like, oh, yes, this beat, I hear it. And so, and he's such a vibe. Sebi is such a vibe. Like, if I had to choose between probably hanging out with the average, 35-year-old and Sebi at 83, Sebi was the man.
Oh,
and
wow.
people like, how did he end up with all those kids? Because Sebi's
He
a
was
vibe.
that guy.
He was that dude. No, straight up. Sebi was that dude. And he could say anything and get away with it. He curse however he want to curse, say what pretty lewd, in fact. Okay. But he was that dude. And he barely moved. He would be in his bed all day rolling a joint. The first thing he said was, Queen Ahki, hey, do you know where I can get some mushrooms? That's the first thing he said to me.
Wow.
And I was like, I got you.
Wow.
I got you. Don't worry. I got you. I was like, I just came back from my ayahuasca. I was like, what do you know about that? And he was like,
my
let me tell you, So we just locked in from the first minute. He was like, he called his assistant. He was like, get Ahki on a first class flight. I want her to come cook for me at Usha. And I was like, I'm there. Yeah, not realizing I was pregnant.
You was pregnant?
I was so pregnant. I got pregnant that weekend I met Sebi.
Shut up. Yes. And it wasn't Sebi's child.
No, girl. You see my little high yellow twin? Girl. Oh, wouldn't that be a tabloid?
I had to say it.
Wouldn't that be a headline? Girl, no, right. Okay, because he will make a baby. He had a 3-year-old at 83 when I met him.
That is too funny.
Yes, girl.
That
hilarious.
Is too
but
funny.
It was magical to be around him. Sebi could remember everything. He remembered the name, the date, the street address, first and last name of everybody.
Yeah.
Like that. And he was always talking about everything that he wanted to do in present tense. He would say, oh yeah, then we're going to go build this. We're going to go over there. We're going to do this all day. That's what he would do. Talk about just manifest affirmations all day. That's what he would do. Just talk about his life, what he's done, and what he's going to do all day. And there would always be someone to sit there and listen. And that was his gift. Yeah. And so I took I made the commitment to sit and listen. Yeah. And so it wasn't conventional like what I wanted and expected. It wasn't like, okay, you sign up here, you're going to become a mentee and da-da-da. It wasn't that.
It was so much more.
It was more. And it was really just the commitment. When he said, well, get her to Usha, I was like, well, I'm here. And what do you need? And I just went into service. And in my life, that's what served me the best. That's where I learned the most, when I wasn't trying to, pay for a class or become something, just dealing with the elders from the perspective of, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? And from that place. Like I slept on his couch for like 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
On a couch.
Wow.
You know, in his room, just on the couch. I wake up, he's still there. You good, Sebi? You still breathing? Okay. You know, you hungry? You need some tea? What you need? And then we would continue talking.
You were devoted.
I was just devoted. And I'm like that in my life. It's really served me in my life. And I tell young women, like, you need mentors. You need elders. You need guidance. Anything that you are passionate about in your life, go serve somebody. Stop looking for the quick, you know, what can I pay for this course and da-da-da-da-da. Go serve. You know, go serve elders. I have dozens of elders in my life who I've made them my godparents. They didn't have to make me. I made them my godparents because I don't have any shame about that. I don't have any ego about that. I am here to serve. And when I met them, if I felt that connection, like, whoa, I could really gain a lot from being around this person. I could truly learn a lot. And in turn, how can I serve you? I took that position for myself. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to make you. No, I took that position for myself. I said, how can I serve you? That's it.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. So, and I will say, yeah, there isn't a lot of that happening right now. There's not a lot of mentorship. Like it's kind of become a thing of the past where, or either it's something so professionally career driven. It's just like, oh yeah, you're going to corporate office, you have this person, you get linked up with someone, but not in the collective, in the community. Yeah. Where you're just sitting at the bedside.
There's a lot of the young folk. I can say that now that I'm over 40. I can say that. Well, the young folk, that feels good. But because I don't, honestly, you know, being in this body, I feel every bit of 25. Yeah. So, you know, even thinking about my age sometimes, I'm like, did I mess it up somehow? Did I forget it? Did I skip it?
40's the new 30, the new 25.
I don't even know how I got here. I seriously don't. But I can feel it in my experience when I have these conversations and I think about these things. And there's an entitlement in this younger generation where just the young folks seem to think they can just get things really easy, that everything is, you know, really quick, you know, there's this, you know, the instant gratification. The egos are so out of control where it's like, I don't need to go this route and serve somebody. I can go figure that out on my own. And then all I got to do is have a really high quality camera and boom, I'm a star. And now I am the person that's doing the things. Yeah. Because I was the fastest to buy the box.
The fastest.
And
but how sustainable is it? How sustainable is that when you go fast?
Yes.
And you go
fast
alone.
Nowhere. Yes.
Yeah.
Going fast nowhere. No, it's not the way. And what I've learned also is the resource is really the people. You know, the wealth is the family, the loved ones, you know, the friendships that you build. That's the wealth. The relationships. You know, if I didn't take the time to say, well, Sebi, how can I serve you? And just come over there straight out of ayahuasca in my apron and cook all day. I didn't charge him a dime. I just wanted to serve because he's given so much. What is the least that I could do? That's how I feel. You've worked. You've done the work. You've guided us to a new consciousness of the way we should live. What more could I do for you? So had I not, you know, humbled myself as opposed to being like, well, I'm 75% done with my book on alkaline foods. He didn't take the time to blow up his social media. People know about him, but not really. My platform is bigger than his. Guess what? I got this. Yeah. I really could have done that, you know, and not stopped to give him his proper credit, you know. But anytime people hear me talk, any conference, anything I do, I give it up to the people who have guided me. Dr. Sebi absolutely changed my consciousness and perspective. Queen Afuas changed my entire consciousness and perspective as a woman, you know, as a sacred woman. Dr. Ali Muhammad, to me, he towers anybody intellectually when it comes to health and wellness. I haven't met a human living yet that can touch him. Nobody. And he's not even well known for some people because he's so revolutionary in his approach to health and wellness and politics that, you know, it makes him, you know, a target.
Got it.
And he knows that. So there's some phenomenal minds out here. There's some phenomenal elders out here, but they have the wealth, they have the knowledge, they have the experience that we need. But because we have so much access to be popular, we'll take a shortcut, and it's not sustainable, and it won't work because you won't really get the real fruit of that elder's experience. The things that I learned just being at his bedside for weeks and weeks. I mean, we traveled to Mexico. We traveled, you know, I was in LA with him for weeks. I was in Usha several times. Just being around him, the little things that I would pick up, I'll never forget. I remember he was looking at a herb in a cup of glass one day, and he was just sipping on this herb, and he was like, "Look, Ahki, bubbles." And I was like, "Here's bubbles." He was like, that means this has got a lot of oxygen. He was like, "So-and-so, yeah, go get more of that right there, write that down." You know, and I'm like, hold on, bubbles is in the cup. The herb, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's not something that he would put in a program.
Yeah.
You know, or a course, probably. You know, it was just him.
Yeah. And you were able to absorb that frequency.
Oh, yeah.
That energy, and it's beyond what, like kind of what you were saying, what the intellectual mind can absorb and process. It goes deeper.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's beautiful. You did say something about him rolling a joint, and I'm like, and I go back and forth on this, but I did kind of see recently, I kind of have an understanding of it. It's just that marijuana is a plant medicine as well, right?
Absolutely.
And
beautiful.
So when it comes to the plant medicine, like how you said, it is serious. And so you cannot abuse it.
Yes.
And I think that's what's happening possibly with the marijuana. How do you feel about the use of marijuana, and even what kind of marijuana we have access to at this point?
Girl, listen, when it comes to the beautiful plant teacher, Maria, I got a love song for her. I really do. Because, you know, that plant has gotten me through many a tough times.
Okay.
Truly. And I've grown my appreciation over the years. But I have a girlfriend who was working in like forensic sciences, and she did a lab study on marijuana right here in Atlanta. This is 10 years ago. And she called me and said, "Ahki, whatever comes from the street, don't do it. Don't do it. You know, get you a grower and really find out." She said, "I can't even tell you, I found over 26 chemicals in the local weed." She was like, all of it's trash. Everything she tested was trash. She said there's pharmaceutical drugs. There was so much toxic junk in this weed. And I was kind of onto it because I took a trip to Jamaica around that same time, my first trip to Jamaica. And I went all over, and we got some herb. And I looked at the herb, big bush. You know, he was like, "Yeah, this is what we got for you." He wrapped it up. I was like, "Oh, that's okay. That's all right. Yeah, okay. It's fresh. I like that." You know, and we rolled it, we smoked it, and I didn't really feel anything. It just, you know, kind of relaxed. And I was like, that weed is trash. That weed is trash. And the whole trip, we were like, yeah, Jamaica's weed is trash, you know. And now I'm like, no, we've just been poisoned.
Like, exactly.
No, that was probably the good stuff.
That probably was what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
we want some gas to lay us out for 7 days.
Yeah, we're on this, you know, heavy gas, kush, whatever, marshmallow, grape. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But it's something else. It's not natural marijuana.
And I think that's so important. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that it made me think of that, because that is the controversy of people saying, it's a plant. It's like, baby, that ain't a plant anymore.
Not
like
no more.
What we're getting is just not what you think you're getting or what you're supposed to be getting. So it's just about, let's be aware. Let's be very aware, intentional, and cautious. Yeah.
Same with the food. I tell people all the time that your chicken sandwich is not your great grandma's chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, this is not the same. That ain't the same chicken.
That's not the same. That might not even be chicken, sweetie.
We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And now that Bill Gates got a hold of it.
And
we don't know what
he got a hold of the apple cider vinegar.
Oh my God. They took our beloved Bragg's apple cider vinegar, baby. Oh, I'm so hurt. I was in Belize at the grocery store looking at some big bottles of it, organic apple cider vinegar. And I wanted to buy it so bad. And I was like, I bet you, because I'm in Belize and we have a lot of old things in the stores, I was like, I might need to just go ahead. This may be the last real batch.
Last one from the original.
Right here in my neighborhood. If it was going to be an old batch, this would be it. Girl.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's, things have changed.
Things have changed a lot. I have one more thing I want to touch on before went a little over time. I want to do another hour, but this has been so
bad.
This has been so good.
It's great.
I want to talk, as we were talking about how you explain the real wealth is in the family, it's in the relationships. And how they often say your net worth is your net worth.
Yes.
When it comes to sisterhood, a lot of women, including myself, are going through the process of learning of healing those sister wounds. And I think it's probably a combination with the mother wound. It's just the female on female dynamic and how we've kind of been torn apart. I see with you are always with your girlfriends. You guys are having fun. You're loving up on them. You're honoring them. And it's so beautiful. And I think that for most people that haven't gotten there, they don't understand it, or they might think that it's fake, or how could it really be that?
Yeah.
How did you get there? Have you always been that? Especially for being a aesthetically pleasing woman, I already know that growing up, that there was a lot against you.
Come on now.
I mean, I already know, so for you to overcome that and to still open up your arms for that sisterhood.
Yeah.
How did you get there? How do you sustain it?
Ooh, that's a huge conversation, Kayla. Sisterhood is, it's a non-negotiable for me. Having phenomenal women in my life that I honor and appreciate and share this journey with is everything to me. It truly is everything to me. One of my good teachers, my Chief Ali, he talks about cloistering and the importance of women gathering together regularly, the way we've always done in the village, right? And how this is how we survive. This is how we are able to, it really helps us maintain a level of mental health. It's our nature to do this. We have to do it. And we know it when we do it, we all get in a room together, it just feels so freaking good.
Yeah.
To go into a room full of your sister girls, it's almost better than meeting up with your bae.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just different, right? Because we love our booze, but there is a level of real and raw that you can be with your girls.
Yes.
That you could never have that same exchange with your man.
Exactly.
It's
That's
just different, right? And so I am the second daughter of my mother. I have one biological sister, Keisha. And me and Keisha, although very close, always been close, we had a really tumultuous relationship. We look nothing alike. And people have always kind of treated us a little differently.
Got it.
And our personalities are very different. She's a Scorpio, I'm a Pisces. So I'm very sensitive, empathetic by nature. And I also can be a bit in the stars, I'm in my imagination. And sometimes it can come off to people as maybe I don't care, or maybe I'm just, self-consumed. And so she's really sensitive to that, fiercely loyal, amazing woman. And so I think for me personally, I wanted to replace that, that deep bonding and sisterhood that I wasn't always getting with my own sister. I think I wanted to replace that. And although very close with my mother, and she is my bestie, boo, bae, okay? But we weren't always extremely close. We never had any beef, but we weren't very close. My mother is a young woman. She wasn't extremely emotionally involved with me. Okay. She was very, very busy raising 3 children and working. And so again, I really desired that kind of bond. And so I've been able to really, really do a lot of work with women despite my issues with my sister. And yeah, my whole life, I've certainly had to deal with mean girls.
Yeah.
I have certainly had to deal with that. I mean, I had years where like I was like, I got to remove our phone from the phone book. I remember as a young girl, I would get prank calls, girls calling me going crazy, going to my house throwing rocks at the window, trying to fight me. It was horrible, trying to cut my hair off, put gum in my hair. Like I had girls do the worst things to me. And so it's fascinating even for me, the effort that I put into bonding with women with that kind of backstory. It really is. But it's always worth it. And it's something that has saved my life over and over. And having that kind of marriage, because it is a marriage of sorts. I have women in my life where we are just so bonded for life. And going through the different phases of the journey with these women have guided me and given me a soft place to land while I'm figuring out my life, Yeah. And a soundboard where I can kind of, make sure I'm not tripping because they know you. They know all of the real you, and they know your patterns, your proclivities, and they're able to say, you tripping, and because they love you and they've been there for you consistently, you can trust that they fully see you. And if they say you tripping, your ass is tripping.
You likely are tripping.
Yeah. So to me, there's nothing more beautiful than seeing women learn how to do sisterhood. Now, the dramas, the cattiness that has come from, women. What I'll say is I create my own reality and I take full responsibility and accountability for anything that's ever happened to me in those reflections to heal other things inside of me. But I had to also learn how to de-escalate the BS with women and how to recognize it quickly as opposed to letting things kind of play out. And that has really helped me to be able to stop and say, this is a non-consensual event, sis. I do not consent to that. If you want to talk to me because you got an issue, we can have a safe container for that. Because your higher self has no likes and dislikes. Your ego animal has an attitude about this, and feelings are not always facts. This is your perspective. Yeah. You don't even know mine yet. Yeah. Right? And it's a problem. So let's be women and let's have a consensual container for us to put your animal ego in. And now from there, you can let me know how I can support you.
I was going to ask you, is it an ego death that you have to continue to have in order to take that position to be like, I'm going to de-escalate this? No. First of all, I don't believe in ego death. Okay. And I hear that term floating quite a bit. I think it's ridiculous. Your ego cannot die. You need an ego to be alive. The ego is beautiful. It's sacred. So is your animal self. It's sacred like all animals are. But if they are not contained, they might eat your ass up. Okay. Right? And we don't want that. Right. So they just need a safe space of love, nourishment, containing, You need to nourish your ego.
Yes, nourish
so it doesn't
it in a
become out of
healthy
control
way.
And be unhealthy.
Yes, because we need it. The ego animal is how we animate, how we protect our loved ones, how we, self-actualize in the world, right? So they can't be egoless, that we all just be avatars and we won't be here. We'll be transcending past. We'll be transcendent beings at that point. We're masters.
You might as well be gone.
No, we're not. I'm not here to pretend that I'm some ascended master. I'm here to be all authentically me, all of me, the real, the raw, the animal, the ego, all the things. And I like all those parts. I'm okay with all of those parts. I am not a love and light queen. I am not that. I am catch me on the wrong day, you might catch one kind of queen. Don't play with me. I won't play with you. Let's keep it cute, But I love love. I love sweetness. I love all the things. I love all those things. But what I love most is authenticity. And that is the highest frequency, not love. It's authenticity. And so with sisterhood, I need that. I need that authenticity. I need to know how can we contribute to each other's growth and well-being. And if it ever gets smoky, can you be an adult enough to talk to me? That's the worst heartbreak with sisterhood, is when a woman just
shuts you out.
oh my God, the ghosting. Oh, that is a violent feeling. That hurts.
Yeah.
When you've given your heart to somebody, your time, energy, resources, and they have a perception about you that you know is like, yo, I wasn't even trying to do that.
Yeah.
And I've had those scenarios happen with grown women where for 8 years it's beef and everyone knows it. And the moment we were able to come around and say, let's open a container about that, it's like, yeah, I was tripping.
Yeah.
Like, what? 8 years? Yeah, I don't know. You know, nothing that you said was true, right? You know, I sent you the screenshots to prove that wasn't true. Yeah.
And
well,
how do you forgive? How do you forgive?
Girl,
when you've been
forgiveness.
hurt, it's like, can you trust them again? It's like, oh, I don't even know. You know, how do you really forgive and able to hold that space again and be in the hugs and the loving part again?
I can only tell you, Kayla, through what my personal therapist and life coach would say to that.
Okay.
And that is, if you ever want to be forgiven, you better learn how to forgive.
That says it all right there. That says it all.
I mean, it pissed me off just saying it out my mouth. I'm going to tell you right now, because there's some folks that I don't want to forgive right now. But yet, you know, there's some things I would like to be forgiven for.
Absolutely.
Because we do make mistakes and we're not
Absolutely.
perfect. And we're all just babies in God's view. You know, we're all just growing and trying to figure this thing out. You know, and most of us don't have the tools. Even if we have the heart to do it right, we don't have the language. You know, we're just now getting some of this language.
Yeah,
You know,
truly.
I heard your sister Candace. Your sis Candace, shout out to her, talking about holy language.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that conversation. I talk about that a lot. And just now, we're just now getting some of this language. Our mothers didn't have the language
Absolutely
to say,
not.
sister, can you hold space for my ego to vent? You know, I met on a level of 1 to 10, I met a 10. And, you know, feelings aren't facts. My higher self has no likes and dislikes, but my ego needs to vent. What?
Right.
I mean, that's some God level shit.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is.
It really
and that's what our goal is. That's where we're going.
Yes.
That's where we're headed. So that doesn't mean that I'm going to sit here and pretend that I'm not pissed, hurt, and angry. And I think that's the part of that dance of pain and betrayal within relationships, not just sisterhood, that is so difficult to get past because you're so sad, hurt, and angry and betrayed. And the person typically wants to quickly defend. They want to quickly change your mind about what you feel.
They want to quickly change your mind.
Right? It makes you feel totally dismissed. But, you know, and men do this too well. Right? Where they just want to hurry up and fix it. Right? Because that's their nature.
Problem solvers, fixing solutions.
Yes, solutions. And we're like, fuck a solution. Feel me.
Feel this out.
Feel what I'm saying and understand me. That's what I want.
Yeah, because I don't want this to circle back again.
We don't want to happen again.
Because it's like,
Don't let it happen
that's
again.
another thing about men is in their patterns. They're like, you want to bring up old stuff. I'm like, well, it just happened again. So how old is it? I'm trying to get you to see the pattern.
Yes.
That's why I've brought this up.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, you want to be tit for tat? It's like, no. One thing specifically that comes up with men, it's just like, oh, I hate when you do that. It's like, oh, well, you do that too. It ain't tit for tat. No, what I'm saying is, don't ask me not to do something that you're still currently doing.
Yes.
So you have to be aware.
What are we talking about? Oh my God.
I love that.
Yes.
This is so good.
It's good.
Thank you so much. One of the things that you did say is the highest, what did you say? The highest vibration or frequency is authenticity.
Authenticity, yes.
And that brings me to that language again of how the word genius is thrown around a lot. And what I just recently learned is, from what the definition was presented, is that a genius is when someone is in their complete authenticity. That's what makes them a genius, because when you think about how we all have a different fingerprints.
Yes.
And that's how we can bring our highest self.
Yes.
When we're actually being ourselves, when we haven't been put in a box, when we haven't accepted what we can and can't do by somebody else, that's when we become a genius. That's when we create everything that no one can imagine.
Yes.
It's through authenticity.
Yes. And you know what blocks us from that genius? It's really because we're scared about what somebody gonna say. We're scared about what people think. If I show you my whole self, my true authentic self, I struggle with that.
I do too.
I struggle with that. I don't feel like I struggle with it in my day-to-day life, but I certainly feel like what I want to express to the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I struggle with that because it's like, y'all don't need to know all this.
Yeah.
You don't need to get all this authenticity. y'all ain't ready. Y'all ain't ready for that. You know, it's really a lot of that. Seriously, because I am all of these things. And I've been told by several people, Ahki, you have a lot of complex layers. And a lot of people can't digest that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to choose this or choose this. And I'm like, I'm all of those things.
Yeah.
I'm a phenomenal musician. I'm a phenomenal dancer. I'm a phenomenal cook.
Yeah.
I'm phenomenal in my healing work. I'm a great teacher. I'm a great writer. I'm a lot of things, you know, so having to kind of be pigeonholed in the way, it really stifles authenticity, because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and be the bad guy.
Guys. It stifles us. So I think I want to leave it on that note with like everyone who's watching this. I call forth all of our authenticity. That we can have an abundance of authenticity and be lovingly guided into that, and that we can hold space for each other's authenticity. We are all dealing with these same kind of things. We are not alone in this. And so, yeah.
I share to that.
Yes, I share.
I will affirm that with you.
Before we go, I want you to look into this camera, and I just want you to tell everyone where they can find you, anything that you want them to know about what you have going on, what you're offering, anything like that.
Beautiful. I'm Ahki Taylor. You can find me at all things Chef Ahki Taylor, and also ahkitaylor.com. Stay tuned for the electrickitchen.com for the Electric Academy, as well as upcoming Reset Wellness Retreat in Panama. I can't wait to get to know you, sisters.
Thank you. Oh, this is beautiful. Thank you so much. We did it.
We did it. Girl, we could have talked another 2 hours. Oh my God. We didn't even talk about sex.
What did we talk about?
Baby daddies.
Okay, so can we do it?
Okay, look.
So we'll do part 2.
Oh, girl.
Let's do part 2.
I would be down.